family and they're reacting the way that they reacted, I had issues with females as well, right? Because I'm like, you kind of supposed to have my back. And then don't even get me started on, but I think this is a different topic, on the guilt that I felt towards my mother. When I give it to him, when he looked at me, he didn't look at me as, oh my gosh, my daughter give me something. He looked at me like, ooh, I'm gonna get you later because this like turn me on type of thing. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not giving this shit again. Right? Because I gave one to my mom and whatever the case. So when she looked at me, she gave me a hug. But when he looked at it, it was like, huh? Right? So for me, I could not. Pardon me?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. So for me, it kind of messed my mentality up growing up, in relationships, in talking with people, and then having mostly females in my family and they're reacting the way that they reacted. I had issues with females as well, right? Because I'm like, you kind of supposed to have my back. And then don't even get me started on, but I think this is a different topic, on the guilt that I felt towards my mother, right? Because at the end of the day, when I got older, I felt like the other woman hurting my mother as well, but also my mother finding out, not knowing how my mother is going to react, because I've seen how other women react. Like, it took me years to fully like love my mother and accept my mother, and to accept that my mother don't look at me as a home wrecker, right? Accept that my mother don't look at me as somebody, as a liar. It took years and years of me to literally go and hug my mother, right? Or to kiss my mother. It took me years of that. So she and I never really had a full-blown relationship, because I still felt guilt in terms of, I think I messed up somewhere. I think I am the one that broke the family apart. Like, it took me years for my siblings to even like talk to me, because all of them blame me for the family being broken, right? So it takes a lot. So I know females that go through this will definitely relate to this factor of their life.
Exactly. I like I said, this is why I think this is so decent and so important, because although this goes back to what we were saying before, like although the details are different, our experiences are the same. Because I felt guilty too. And I think like when I was 7 in particular, he was around for a while. And like he was my aunt boyfriend, today's baby dad. And the aunt was like, we were really kind of close too. And I felt super guilty, because I didn't know what I did or what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm like, this is not good. And he would use that against me too, like my aunt, you know.
I'm gonna go tell her.
Yeah, like I said, he said we can't say nothing yet. Like, and I'm like, I mean, I want to tell her now. I don't want to wait. You want me to wait because you want me to wait and dress it up different, as if I was a part of this, and it's not true.
Right.
The manipulation within itself, they don't realize what we go through. And then like, and this is another thing that I figured out as well. Like, so I was like, no, it's very relevant. These things are triggers. Like, these are literally the things that trigger us throughout our life, where you sitting here having flashbacks 20 years later and trying to figure out why this person is triggering you the same way that your abuser was triggering you. However, they're nurturing in the same breath, and it's confusing as hell, because they're manipulative, they're controlling,
they're abusive,
they're abusive. You know what I mean? Like, they are fighting you in the house and treating you all lovey-dovey outside and shit like that.
Yeah.
These things are super triggering, super triggering. And then, like, again, you don't really even understand why. But all of the things that he did, like I said before, like, he used to call me beautiful. And I met my dad, like, I don't even remember having that relationship with my parents. So I think when you were saying that, I could see me doing that as well. Like, I didn't really take care of myself in a certain way when I was younger, because I don't think I wanted that attention either. Even though I wasn't sure how to get the attention, I didn't want to provoke it. Like, I didn't want to add to it. And so I said I think I had like a boyfriend when I was like around like maybe 15 or 16 that asked me why wasn't I like other girls? Like, why don't you, you know, dress a certain way? Why don't you, you know, fill your makeup in and stuff like that? And I didn't really want to do that. Crazy.
I get what you're saying, because for me now, mine would confuse me. Like, he would treat me like a daughter out front in front of people, and then behind closed door, I'm not your daughter, right? So I learned early the different masks of people and the different masks that people would wear, and it confused the heck out of me, because all I'm thinking in my head is, I want to out. And not just that too. I became a protector extremely early as well, because I realized, like, when my friends come around, he would want to like touch them in a sort of way and all of those different things. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be bringing my friends here. I'm going to go at them instead, because I don't think I want to put my friends through something that I am so accustomed to, right? So the fact that I can see the little moves and things that he would try, like he would be nice to you and give you things or whatever, you know, suck up to you, start to touch you a sort of way, all those different things. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, he trying to have his way with my friends. So I would not bring my friends to my house, right? And when my sister born, I become so, because my sister born when I was over 10. So this has been years that this has been happening. And when my sister born, I was so freaking, my mother talked about it, but before my mother, she knows now, but when she talked about it, she didn't know my action behind the things I was doing. She would talk about how I used to carry Tisha everywhere with me. And I would take her wherever I'm going, she comes. Like if I'm studying or whatever, she comes with me. If I'm going to go somewhere and he's home, she goes with me. I take her everywhere that I go. So she was always around me all the time. So we were extremely close. And then when I go places, she would find me wherever it is I'm going to go. She follows me. She get away from the home and she follows me wherever I go. So eventually it gets to the point where she, as a kid, end up seeing that. But because my sister, she is so brave, I admire her. I think my strength come from her, because she don't hold her mouth, right? And I learned from her how to stand up for myself. I don't think I ever told her that, actually. I don't think I've ever did. I learned from her how to stand up for myself. I learned from her how to say what is on my mind, right? She actually taught me those things. I admired the way that she was a go-getter. She would put her mind to something and she would do it, right? So with her being born, I think her being born also changed me into wanting to be out of the situation, wanting to be better, and also make me a major protector of her. So when she got older, he actually tried to do that with her. But before that happened, I remember my mom telling me a day we were talking, and it got me so very mad that he said that he would never do that to my sister. And I'm like, wait, you would never do that to my sister? Not that I wanted to happen, because again, I'm prepared, I'm protecting her. But then it made me think, like, wait, so am I not okay? I started to question this, like, legit. It's only like 3 to 4 years now I decided or accepted that they were my parents. I so serious. I told my mom, you're not my mom. Legit. I told her, I do not think I'm related to you, because there is no way that my nurturers would be related to me and this is happening. Oh, hell no. I went through a denial phase. I tell her, look at me. I do not look like you. I don't look like you.
Right? I'm still in my denial. I wonder we all go through that.
Oh no, we do.
I was doing that. I'm like, I'm adopted.
Hell, thank you.
Like, when y'all going to tell me I'm still waiting for them to tell me the truth. Like,
girl, to this day, right now, so serious. But I know that they are, but still.
That's why y'all ain't. That's why you ain't love me like that. Like, I understand. And it's sad that
it is
sad that we do that though. But again, I think it goes back into how we try to protect ourselves. Like, we try to make sense of this shit. Like, it gotta be a reason that I'm being treated like this. Like,
the hell, something. yeah, it took me years to realize that, because I used to get most of the beating out of the situation, like more pressure on to do things, like most of the responsibility. But then when I took myself out of it, I was the eldest. So, or I am the eldest. So even where things are going to be harder on me, but most of my punishment, I really truly think I know that my ass was not being punished because I'm the eldest and I'm supposed to be protective. Because I figured out initially that he also had a conflict with the situation as well, right? And this is what a lot of people don't realize too. I realized through my beating that he saw me as an adult, right? And I was still a child. So sometimes I would do childlike things and that would piss him off, right? And I would get beating for that fact. So in his head, he was putting me on that pedestal of being adult, but not facing the fact. I think it was his denial mechanism that he had, that she's not a child, she's an adult. I'm only doing this to her because she's an adult. She looks like an adult type of thing. So I realized that early, that he saw me as that. And when I do behave like a child, I realized that through a jealousy rage that he had with this guy that was flirting with me, because I told you I used to look a certain way. Right. I realized that through that phase that he legit saw me as that. But then when I do behave like a child, I think that's where most of my punishment came from. So
when he was being reminded that you was a kid, and he ain't like how I knew him feel. That's crazy.
Exactly. Wow. And this is a lot of things this is why as I got older and I went through my spirituality and I understand the dynamic, I start to take myself and emotion out of what happened to me and sit down and study the individuals, including myself. I am a part of those individuals. And I study my body, because my soul, she is good. She's coming together, right? She don't have no attachment to what my body been through. Yes, we are one, we are good, but I had to take myself out of the picture, and I saw how my body was broken. I have never, because I never learned to look at people in their eyes, I never looked at myself in my eyes. And one day I did, and I was so afraid of what I saw. Oh, girl, like you got a story. All right, I can't wait to hear that. I was afraid of what I saw, because when I look in the mirror, I jumped myself. I didn't know what I was seeing. I don't know if it was broken, it was fair. I don't know what it was, but what I saw scared the shit out of me, right? So I started to look at myself. Eventually, I start to see whatever the hardness that I saw in my visual, it started to dim, right? And then I start to see me in a sort of way. But when I finally did look at me, I was broken. I was broken, and I have to rebuild her all over again. But I want to hear about
that. I'm real queen reflection. So you already know. Like, I hit that mirror and just couldn't handle my reflection. I couldn't handle none of what I saw. And I was 20. I wrote Real Queen Reflection in 2018. Like, I think I was like, what, 27 maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were 27.
I already had a son. I already lived and did a lot of stuff. And it was in that moment that I realized that I had never accepted myself visually at all. I used to do my makeup, and that's the only time I would look at my face to get my hair and stuff in order. And then I would literally get dressed and look from here down. I would never fully take myself all in as one person. And I struggle with it, but I still am working through that right now, because it's so deep. It's not as mental as it once was, because like what you just said, I felt the same way. I think I was almost scared to see what other people saw because of how they would project onto me. And it was always negativity. And that's why, again, I had to figure out, where do projections even come from? And that's when I realized they're just insecurities that people project onto you from themselves. It has nothing to do with you. So it's like, that part was hard for me, honestly. But that's why I tell people, read all the time, yo. You gotta read, because reading and when I mean reading is like looking into your own emotions, your own thoughts, your own feelings. Why do I feel like I'm being attacked? Like, are you actually? Because we are being attacked.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy to me when, like you said, about being broken and whatever. I think that, like, I hate that word, honestly. I hate that word. And I think it is because I felt broken. I didn't never think I was broken because I dislike the word so much, honestly. But I think I felt broken though. But then it's like the people would tell me I was broken. That's why I didn't like it. Like, I didn't ask you to tell me that I was broken. I already feel broken. I don't need your help. That's why I don't really care for that word. However, it's a very important word because victims do tend to feel broken. Yeah. And that's why I said it's a feeling. I still don't agree with the word because it's a feeling. Once you get past the feeling of being broken, you the same.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So it's like, why? How am I broken? Like, and to me, to say if somebody could tell you that you're broken, that means they can see your pain.
Yeah, so and identify that to that person
instead of calling them broken. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I actually had a person say that I reminded them of another person because the other person, like, we were both broken.
Wow.
And it hurt because it was like, for one, I wasn't portraying myself as to be broken, that particular person, but it was like, regardless, because I had pain and this person had pain, they automatically pushed us in the same way. So that's what made me start to go deeper into what I was actually experiencing and actually listening more to other people. And I'm like, well, if I'm broken, we all broken because we all have a part of us that we don't understand. It don't matter if it's just catered, you know, if our particular triggers are related to sexual abuse, it's still the same shit. You got parts of you that you don't understand that are related to your childhood, whether you want to accept it or not. A lot of people do shadow work. And I was talking about this yesterday. Like, a lot of people do shadow work. You know, that's just all with the adult self. But a lot of the adult self is created from your inner child. So with that being said, it's like, we're all broken. You know, you just got to figure out what parts of you feel that way. And focus on that. But like you said, it's something about that reflection. That's why I had to be Real Queen Reflections. I'm like, something about seeing yourself. Now, whether that be seeing yourself through another person, because like we said in the other one, we are reflections of each other, or the reflection in the mirror, and really it's because you're going to see yourself in other people. Now, how you relate to other people that you see yourself in, that's a personal problem. For example, if people look at us and say you broken, that's because they see parts in us that they not comfortable with themselves.
Yeah.
So you're trying to call me out to make you feel good about yourself. You see what I'm saying? So it get real deep to me. So I was like, you're going to see your reflection everywhere in this world, whether you like it or not. You got to be real with what you see. So yeah, that's deep because that was the hardest thing for me. And like I said, me having children, I'm like, I can't have no daughter. Because I'm like, I feel like I could build my son up to be the opposite of all of the men that I had encountered. And that's exactly what I have done, and I still continue to do. Like, I love raising my son because it helped. It knocked down so many cycles for me because my son don't see me that way. My son, it helped me see life from literally a different perspective and see, you know, you can have a relationship healthy with your child. It don't gotta be. Because my abuser did the same thing to me because I was one of many. I come from a bigger. I had a lot of cousins. So he did the same thing to me, like would make me feel like I was one of them, but then I'm not really. So it's like I had to put on the mask too, because I gotta pretend like you don't be doing what you really be doing.
Right.
I don't know what you're gonna do if they find out or whatever case. And then this is another thing I wanted to say too, with that whole thing. Did you feel like it? Like, okay, I'm trying to ask a specific question because so I felt like, okay, I used to wonder, like, was he just doing this to me? And I remember asking my bad guy, like, was I the only person? And of course he lied to me and told me that I was. But later I found out that I wasn't. And I remember when I found out that I wasn't, although the circumstances was a little bit different, I couldn't help but feel more guilty thinking that if I had said something, he wouldn't have did other people.
Mm.
And then I felt like, since I was like the first victim in my family of him, I'm like, damn, maybe it's because when I wasn't going over there, he couldn't even help himself.
Mm.
So it was like weird, because I feel like I almost became an addiction of his. I'm getting that from his letters. Like, the letters that he sent me was very addictive. Like, he said he loved me and he was in love with me. And then, like I said, having this conversation with you, it really has been a merge of both worlds, because I wanted a boyfriend. I'm like, we gotta be together. Like, no, we gotta be together. And I think it was the titles. That's why I said labels make you miss the message, because I think it was the titles that I was chasing after, hoping that they would naturally replace the feelings that I didn't want to be there no more. It doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah. Because I feel like when I did get a boyfriend, I wanted to see something different, honestly.
Yeah.
And for me, my boyfriend wasn't in a sexual way, honestly, because I think when we're looking for somebody that young, for me, I legit just wanted to feel love without the sexual attachment.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And when I did go into my relationship, I will have sex with you the first time. I love courting. You see, courting, I love that, right? But then when I have sex with you, the facade goes off, and I just dislike you touching me and dislike you wanting sex from me, and I just start to like feel grossed out about it. But the beginning, I love those type of things, but I never liked it before. And then when I started to figure it out, I realized that I just wanted a father's love. I wanted to know what that was, right? Without it coming to be in a sexual light. And I've never actually had that. Even if my mom had boyfriend, I've never had a legit grown man be in any father presence to me, period. Never had it. So this is why I adopt Will Smith. I adopt outside of what I think that it is that I want, but I've never had it. But I did feel guilty for my friends, because I did have 2 friends that came over that end up having it go further than it did. And that made me feel guilty for her as well, because I know that she was young, and even though she might have already had experience, at the end of the day, I don't think a girl deserve for that to happen to her, right? But I've never saw her again after I came here. I don't think I ever was in touch with any of my friends that I left home, right? But those things do play on my mind, because I feel like I was also at fault for her being there for something like that to happen to her as well. So there were other things, pardon me?
No, I'm saying, but then it's like, it goes back into the beginning of the conversation where it's not. Because it's like we couldn't even protect ourselves. Like we could do our best, but we couldn't stop it, is what I mean. Stop it from happening to us. So it's like, how could you really, stop it from happening to somebody else? Yeah. And that's why I said it's no coincidence that I happen to be one that did too. And I can't let that go, because it's like, sometimes what if you did too? And then you were so young and forgot. Like, if you only told one time, and it's like, for me, I told one time. Well, I told more than one time, and they kept sending me back. It's like, what do you do? Like, apparently, this is my life, and I gotta just
accept it.
I wanted to kill myself, or I wanted to hurry up and grow up. Like, I just need to grow up so I can be away from this. But then it's like, when you got your mind focused on growing up and getting away from it, you just attracted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's in different forms, because you're running from what you're afraid of. And you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, I had a queen say to me, like, we attract our fears. And I'm like, that shit was deep, because she's so right. Like, I be knowing shit. Like, she be knowing shit. And she said that. I'm like, that's actually very true. Because my biggest fear growing up was being like my mom and being like my dad. Like, I didn't want to be that kind of parent. I didn't want to be a parent who didn't see things that seemed, because I felt like my rape and stuff, the relationship that I had with my rapist, I felt like it was obvious. Even looking back at it now, I'm like, y'all couldn't see that shit. Like, and it's just deep because people really can't see their own pain. Like, if you're not acknowledging where you hurt in the inside, no matter what you going through, how the hell can you acknowledge it in another person? We talked about that before as well. Like, we're able to see people's pain because we know our own. You understand what I'm saying? So you got our parents, for example, that were in domestic violence situations, or that come from certain stuff. Because both of my parents had trauma, and I know that is exactly why they couldn't see me for who I was and what I was going through, because they didn't even understand their own traumas, or the understanding, I can actually say, that they had of their trauma wasn't nothing good. So it's like, if I'm going through a similar trauma or the same trauma as they did, they gonna look at me the same way everybody looked at them. That's why when it came down to forgiving both of my parents, that's what I had to go off of for forgiving them. They had their own traumas that made them feel that my trauma made me somebody different. That my trauma meant that I was weak, because these are the things that they were told throughout their childhood about their traumas. Or you weak because you got raped. Or people don't think that we hear this shit. You know what I mean? Like, they dog you out more when they know your truth. Yeah. Those voices don't go away. They don't go nowhere. So I think it makes it makes the bad guy even more nurturing.
Yes.
Because they know what to say to make you feel bad.
Right. For make you feel
better.
Yeah.
Or good.
Yeah.
Or safe. Or comfortable. They know how to push your head. That's why I said they are master manipulators.
Yes, they are. Definitely. I definitely agree with you, because in my situation, he was always the big bad wolf. So if I go and I say, well, this person do something to harm me or whatever, he there to represent, he there to fight for me, or whatever the case is, you know what I mean? So it's conflicting, and I feel like in that, and this goes back again, because I keep like watching this, that's another outlet for him to make himself feel better, because he beat somebody up for the pain that he made, because in me as well too, right? So all of that in their actions, their action shows that they regret it. They actually show that they are ashamed of certain things. But I feel like for girls out there, don't try to figure out why. We all are doing this, right? But honestly, we focus too much on wanting to figure out why did they do this to me, why did they do that to me, and instead we don't focus on how can I overcome something like this? How can I not be my own bad guy? Because we ourselves turn into our bad guy. Becomes our nurturer and our bad guy at the end of the day, right? So for us, we have to also disconnect from the pain and overcome certain things. You can still question why, but at the end of the day, honestly, they don't know themselves. Honestly, they don't. Like, for me, if I was the only victim, I can say, you know what, I want to know why the hell. Are you sure I'm your kid, type of thing. But I'm not the only victim. This is a part of who he is for some reason. I really and truly don't want to know, right? But I'm not the only one that this has happened to. And even after me, there were other people as well. This girl wanted to take him to the police a year and some ago. I tell her if she want me to testify, I'm cool with that. It's totally fine by me. But I wasn't the only one after me. I don't know if there was anyone before me, but I don't know if there was anyone. I know that there were people after me. So why am I questioning why? Why doesn't do anything for you. What does something for you is you healing yourself, right? You understanding what this trauma have done to you, where it has altered you, what you are using from the trauma to use in your relationships, your friendship, How closed down are you? Are you even smiling because something is funny or it made you smile? Or you are putting on the facade that you have learned from your trauma, right? These are the things that we ask ourselves. Are you in this moment truly wearing a mask that you've learned to wear, or are you truly being yourself? If I'm not being myself, how I can be myself again? How I can definitely know that I look good, but what other men project, when other men project their lust on me, that don't mean I have to accept that, right? These are the things we need to work on. We need to work on ourselves, because when people like us have children, right? We project that on us, whether it be in overprotectiveness, whether it be that they have it done to them and then it happened to their children, and instead of they stand up for their kid, they let it happen for their child, right? These are the things that we need to learn. We have to learn to heal. We have to have a community that is gonna have some way to that have knowledge in how am I gonna heal, how they can heal from certain things. We don't have that in our community. We don't have the therapists in our community. We don't have the therapists that can relate in our community. Like for me, when I first told someone,
I said that part right there. Right? The therapist that can relate.
Yes.
That part, because this therapist out there, but when they're not able to relate to your trauma, yeah, it's hard, because that's how it was with me with my therapist. My trauma was, I'm gonna say, it was too much, and then they weren't able to. They actually ended up setting me up. I'm not gonna say for failure, but I wasn't prepared, because they don't really understand. They didn't really understand what I was actually about to be going through. So yeah, girl.
Yeah, like we don't have. We are I'm trying to find a people, right? We are a people of whatever. I'm gonna get over this. We don't know. We were never taught how to talk about certain things, how to deal with something like this. We were always taught how to push things under the rug. It's been in our DNA since slavery, how to push things. Like the massa would rape our fathers and our mothers, and they have no one to stand up to, right? So you then learn how to push it under the rug. I'm gonna just go through it. I'm gonna wait till it's over. You're right. We don't fight for these things. And then it became a norm. It became a norm where the mother's like, you know what? Just don't talk about it. Just leave her. Give her, right? And it's gonna. So we have that generation of those things. But I think it's about time that we stop, because it hasn't done us any good. It's continuing to hurt your children. Okay, then
they did it to us, and then now we doing it to each other, and then now with us doing it to each other, I feel like honestly it's a lot of embarrassment involved in it, where people now don't want to admit their role in it. You know what I mean? Even if the role was turning the blind eye, because like I said, when we came out in my family about what happened, you had other adults that was like, "Oh, I thought something was wrong," or I thought, and that. So
why didn't you ask a question, right? Figure out, help.
For me, like people, I got asked, and when I responded, it didn't change nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, again, those things just add on to more confusion, and that's like you said, when you focus on, like, I think the why is important, but it's not. You're right. It's not important to it's heal. Not worth going over. Yes. You know, 'cause you're not going to get to the bottom of the why unless everyone comes and be honest and is honest about their role. But again, people don't, when you think about it, they not going to want, people haven't even come clean about the role that they played in my stuff. So it's like, you know, for me, I don't want to know how you feel about this, but one of the things that I believe is that you can't heal where you hurt. A lot of us, I feel like we try to heal even though we don't really know what it means. But from my experience, I couldn't heal. I thought I was. I thought time was just going to make things different. But I realized consciously and subconsciously, my body, mind, or spirit wasn't comfortable trying to heal around the same people that hurt me. Even if it wasn't, you know, the first bad guy or the second or third one, maybe the fourth and fifth one was still lingering around. And like I said, for me, it was my parents, my mom and my dad. I can't talk to them. I can't interact with them. I can't engage with them while I'm healing, because then it go back to the why. It go right back to the why. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you? Why did you? Or why did this? Why? All of the whys to me come out more when you still around and surround yourself with people who don't really see you. Because if you only see me as broken, but you won't acknowledge your role and what broke me, again, you understand what I'm saying? It's confused. You're fucking me up. Like, you're not being honest, and then I know the truth. So I gotta either, and that's another thing I say, two truths can't exist at the same time. Like, you can't be out here thinking that this shit ain't happened, and I'm out here knowing that it did. How are we about to exist in the same group?
Right. Yeah.
I chose to go no contact because it's like that shit was driving me crazy. We can't pretend like this elephant.
This is it.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, when we do have children, shit get way different. And I felt like when I had my son, I felt like having my son was an ultimatum. It's like, you want to either heal and break the cycle with your son, or you going to still hang around with everybody and then no telling what happened.
Right.
And that is just something that I just wasn't, I'm just not willing to sacrifice. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Like, because I feel like only way you're able to do both is unless everybody's on board. If they're not willing to admit to the role that they play in being the bad guy, how the hell how can you help? We're not going to break the cycle. You know what I mean? Like, how? We're not on the same page. When you get open and honest and truthful and apologetic, then you could probably get somewhere. But it's like you asking for a lot, and that's why you said I feel like it's important to heal yourself.
Yeah,
get yourself in a place where you can actually sit with your
face
own
you.
Yeah,
we've got to learn to face us, because I find as a victim, we run from ourselves. We run from our pain as well. Like, I never used to want to face it, or really, I was the shell. The shell would say, yes, this happened to me, but I never let it get to me emotionally, right? So I had to sit down one day and really, really face it and admit to myself, yeah, it happened. I admit to myself, yeah, it happened by this person. I admit to myself, because when I believed in God or whatever the case is, and they say that you shouldn't kill, right? I had to figure out, like, damn, I mean, I may go to hell for killing my first child, even though I had no hand in it. Like, those things go through your mind. These are things that goes through people's mind. So we go to conflict. I had a lot of confliction with those things too. And for families that have victims like us, you may not be in a position to put this person in jail. You may not be in the position to beat the heck out of this person or whatever the case is, right? Some of us don't have that type of pull. Let's say somebody who you are scared of, like if you go to the police don't believe you because this person is a police officer. Let's say something like that. The least you can do is lend a shoulder. They will appreciate a shoulder more. They will appreciate you listening to their experience, a listening ear. Here we go. They will appreciate them having a safe zone to express their emotions without you saying, man, you talk about it too much, or man, we can't do nothing about it, so why are you talking about it? No, we need to vocalize that so we of ourselves can hear too, like, shit, this is happening. Remember, we're in a situation where we can't really talk about it. We don't know who we can talk to. We don't even know anything. We can't even get to understand what is happening at this point. We need someone who can listen to us, who can give us some sort of emotional security. You know what I mean? Who can be there. It's like you have a family member, like you have your family member who somebody beat the shit out of them. When they come home, what do? You cater to them. You help them with a bath. You feed them, right? You tell them that it's okay. You help them to walk back or whatever, their arms are broke. You help them. We need you to emotionally help us that way because we have been emotionally broken. You don't be there in that room, in that cold place when the boogeyman come, right? You don't be there. We have to go through this for however long they're going to prolong whatever their session. And then when that's finished, we got to sit down because they're going to leave. We got to sit down with ourselves and our body and our soreness and try to soothe our own pain that they have created for us. Understand that this is not an easy thing for victim like us. This is things that we mentally have to freaking go through. We mentally have to soothe ourselves every day. We mentally have to say that I'm going to be okay. We mentally have to tell ourselves that this is going to be over. We don't know when, but it's going to be over. We have to just live, because we didn't die in that moment. We wake up another day for something to happen, right? So we for me, on my end, I didn't try to kill myself or whatever. I just believe that it's going to be over, right? So for family that has victim like us, you may not be able to do anything, but you being there for us emotionally and having us express to you without you throwing it back in our face is you helping, right? You being there when we run out of the boogeyman's room and run into your arms to cry about it is you helping. Understand? If you are able to put this person in jail or whatever, hell, great, put them in jail. But guess what? We are still there emotionally broken. So we still need you to listen.
Process within itself. Because I went to court with mine and we ain't win. So it's like, what you're saying is 100% correct. Family has to be supportive all throughout this process, and then don't think just because somebody coming to you one time means that they good now. Like, no, this shit, we both, you know, I'm 30 now.
Me too.
Okay, so it's
well,
like,
not yet, but soon.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, that same support still has to be happening right now while you healing as an adult, because and I'm sure you probably can relate to this as well, but for me, like when I started consciously healing and like meditating and sitting with myself and talking to my inner child, I started getting flashbacks clear as day.
Boom.
So it's okay, I remember balling up, like, and I still ball up for comfort. Like I sleep balled up. I sleep just like in like almost
protective
like a
circle. Yeah, protective circle.
It's something I'm just like, I don't force myself out of that because it's comfortable for me. I was noticing the other night, I was asleep and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I know somebody will. Like I sleep with my hands like this over top of my private part to go to sleep. So it's certain stuff that we still, and I'm a grown up. My son gonna do this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like we still have to eat exact. That's why it's very, very hard to heal where you hurt and still, because I'm not nowhere near the people that hurt me anymore.
Right.
But I still subconsciously I have to allow my physical body and mental body and spiritual body to catch up with the fact that we're not around that anymore.
Yes.
So you gotta give your instincts, your energy, your aura, your all of this stuff to get yourself rebalanced. And it starts with being mindful of your energy. If you know that you need support, but you're not receiving support, accept that part. Like, I created a whole soul family outside of like we claiming celebrities and stuff. Do what you gotta do. Do what your situation is calling you to do for yourself. Because you can do it on your own. It's not gonna be pretty, but it ain't gonna be pretty if you do it on your own or not. Like you said, you was crying for months. I was crying for months. I was doing it alone, but I still did it. I got in the shower, turned the water on, and sat right there with myself and just screaming, hollering, punching, whatever that I need to do to release myself as I was getting these flashbacks. You gotta do what you gotta do. You definitely gonna get flashbacks. So you gotta.
Hey you, yes you. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope that you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for coming to my page. So I would like for you to subscribe, and I also want you to watch the last video, and I hope that you enjoy everything on my channel. Thank you.